Yo, what's going on, guys? GZTV back with another video, and in this video we are going to be talking about Dexter. We are here with the 8th episode. We are 2/3 of the way through season 4, so yeah, we're just going to talk about the summary real quick. I usually don't do a crazy amount of reviews, just kind of discuss what happened and what I think and stuff, so yeah, let's see. So in his backyard shed, Dexter obsesses over killing Jonathan Farrow, someone who didn't fit the code of Harry. And it's very uncomfortable for him, and he feels very guilty, feels very remorseful. So obviously he only kills people that did something wrong, whether it's rape, murder, fraud maybe. I don't know. It's mostly murderers. And he thought, in this case, he thought Jonathan Farrow killed a couple models that he was working with. He was wrong. They found his assistant guilty, and now Dexter still with the fact that he just broke the code. So in the briefing room, Angel Batista informs the team that Jonathan Farrow is officially a missing person, and that his assistant, Timothy Brandt, is suspected of his murder. I mean, that kind of puts Dexter in the clear for now, but it's going to get oddly specific when people guilty of murder start dying off, that's probably why Dexter doesn't want people to know about the Trinity Killer, so if that guy dies, no one will suspect it has connections with anything. Angel asks Deb what she has on the bludgeonings, because, she's still kind of researching it, even though she's not really on the case, she was on the case at the beginning of the episode, but they're in, the meeting, she discusses things, and blah, blah, blah. Deborah explains that there has been a pattern, a trinity of victims every year for approximately 30 years, each time in a different city across the United States. And she's, absolutely right. Her, Lundy, and Dexter are right. It's just the rest of the team doesn't understand her and thinks she's, psychotic. To Dexter's frustration, LaGuerta seems to believe her and is intrigued. Dexter's like, oh, shit. Well, there we go. Outside the conference room, Deborah excitedly tells Dexter that she's keeping Lundy's legacy alive, which is good. Let's see. In his garage, Arthur Mitchell is hunched over his newly made coffin, head resting on his hands, in prayer. I didn't really realize at first that he was making a coffin, but it kind of makes sense now. I don't know why my dumbass didn't really figure that out when we were reviewing it last episode. When we were talking about the last episode, I was like, what is he making with wood here? It's really weird. But yeah. Dexter, still going by the alias Kyle Butler, visits Arthur at his home, and he's asking about his plans. He's going on vacation. He's like, oh, I got an opportunity here to figure out, go where he's going, spy it out, yeah. Back at the department, Dexter looks up events in Tampa related to his job to use that as an excuse on short notice to be out of town, because he's going to convince Arthur to take him to Tampa. And Deborah said she was taking off the Trinity case, yada, yada, yada. In LaGuerta's office, Dexter makes the connection to how weather patterns, such as barometric pressure and humidity, can affect the integrity of blood spatter, painting this conference as a roundabout way of becoming a more efficient analyst and therefore more valuable to the department. And yeah, she's like, as long as you're becoming more expert in your field. After listening to Dexter with a blank look, Rita is happy to see him both enthused about the conference and dedicated to his job and family. So they're starting to finally understand each other and understand what they're kind of doing to the family, and Rita is respecting Dexter more, That night, in his backyard shed, Dexter packs light for the trip, making sure to bring the hammer Arthur gave him, along with a large knife. So, because it's kind of sentimental to kill this guy with that hammer for some reason. It is, it is what it is. Outside the high school the next day, Arthur is about to take off for his trip when Dexter suddenly appears outside his van and stops him. He's pleading with him, please, 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 I gotta go with you. I got something to talk about. I need to get something off my chest. I'm going through something. And yeah. She's like, fine. Arthur's kind of pissed at first, but yeah. At the station, Angel, LaGuerta, Quinn, and Masuka are discussing the bludgeoning cases, while Deborah hovers nearby, listening and filing, and she's like kind of giving cues to Quinn on like what he should do with it. At LaGuerta's office door, Angel asks where the money is going to come from, and LaGuerta says she's going to try and find it in the budget. They need to scrape up money to do like the DNA sweeps and stuff like that. And funny enough, Deb told Quinn to make that suggestion. On the ride to Tampa, Arthur attempts small talk with Dexter, but is met with curt answers to his questions. He doesn't want any questions to be asked, obviously. Arthur's already very, impatient. So, yeah. At the Collier County rest stop, Dexter eats a vending machine, a burrito, while Arthur sips a soda. Oh, you were brave enough to shoot that deer and stuff? Why don't you tell me what happened? And Dexter says he kills a man, and Arthur's like, wow, really? Dexter isn't used to admitting murder, and Arthur's not used to hearing about it, regardless of their combined body count. So yeah, it's kind of an interesting interaction between those two. So in his hotel room, when they get there to Tampa, Dexter reflects that killing Arthur is the best deed he can possibly do to kind of save the rest of the community, so he doesn't carry out with his Trinity killings. Holding an ad for a hardware store he's ripped from the yellow pages, Dexter is on his way out, and Arthur's right there to meet him, and Arthur's just not going to leave him alone, I guess. He's, too careful. He doesn't know that Dexter's trying to kill him, but, coincidentally, he's always ahead of Dexter for some reason. LaGuerta and Angel are sitting together in the briefing room after hours, and, obviously romantic relations, so, yeah. Quinn burst in, and then after he's done telling them about news about the case, getting stuff for the budget, then they hit it. Quinn is sleeping it off at home when he is awoken by a knock at the door. Christine, she's there. She's losing her job. She can't find a headline. She needs his support emotionally and with her job. Early next morning, Dexter's planning to register at the work conference and establish an alibi, then make it back to the hotel before going on Arthur's surprise outing. So yeah, it's interesting. Arthur's right up with him, and Dexter's gonna have to find a way to escape and go to the convention. So yeah, Deb is sitting at her desk staring at a photo of Frank Lundy's dead face when Quinn walks in, and he's drunk and kind of out of it. So yeah, Quinn finds Masuka in the lab overseeing the construction of DNA swab kits because Deb gave him another suggestion to find Masuka and get the DNA, or get the pictures from Tarla Grant's scene. Neighbor Elliot brings the kids home with a catch of fish. That's a different thing, Dexter's away from the family, so Elliot's kind of trying to slide in and rizz up Rita, which he kind of does to an extent. It's kind of crazy. I don't know. In Tampa, Arthur pulls up in front of a small suburban house, runs to the door, and starts frantically knocking and ringing the bell. This is his childhood home. He wants to kind of show Dexter, where his family died, and he wants to confess a little bit of his own. He wants to confess his own dark side because Dexter did earlier on. In the upstairs hall, Dexter finds Arthur standing, terrified, across from the bathroom door. This is where it all started, He scared his sister. She fell. I don't know how the fuck she died from that, but yeah. Blah, blah, blah. Deb is taking a coffee break behind the station. And, Christine's kind of there, and Deb offers to give her an interview. In Tampa, because Christine needs another headline for her job, and Deb helps save the day. In Tampa, Dexter leads a skeptical Arthur into a hotel coffee shop, and he kind of gets away from Arthur and goes and gets a picture with the famous weatherman of their town. Yeah. Dexter returns to the coffee shop, but Arthur isn't sitting at their table, and he gets kind of confused. Where's this guy at? He's sitting at a table with his neighbor, and he calls them the neighbors, but they're not. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Very awkward. Arthur tells Dexter that he embarrassed him in the restaurant, and it was rude to leave. So, yeah, whatever. In Miami, Deb's got her hands on the discarded photos of Tarla Grant and is looking at them in the woman's restroom. LaGuerta comes in, and obviously Deb doesn't want her to find this out because she's not on the case and she's not allowed to look at files for the case. She'd probably get fired. Deb goes straight to the lab, closes the door and the blinds, and takes off her shirt. Obviously, Masuka is like sexually inclined by this, so it is what it is. Arthur and they're like kind of figuring out how tall the Trinity killer is, how tall the person that shot her is, because she has bullet wounds down like on her hip, and she's taller than Masuka. So Masuka's like, well, it's someone the same height as me. Arthur and Dexter enter Dexter's hotel room and drop their purchases on the bed. Yeah, so they got done going to the hardware store and stuff, and yeah, Dexter found his killing weapon pretty much. Back at Rita and Dexter's house, all the kids are passed out in the living room while Ellie and Rita share a bottle of wine. Oh goodness, it's not good. A man that isn't your actual man, and wine, that's probably not a good combo. Dexter's blood-proofing the bathroom with his knives at the ready. You know, he's making a kill room. Arthur's van is in the parking lot, but his tools aren't. Oh, he's so Dexter's like, oh, he must be at the Four Walls build starting early in the morning. He goes out. Arthur's trying to kill himself, and Dexter saves him. Arthur's helped to his feet by the Four Walls folks and gasp to Dexter. And he's like the savior. They're like, oh my god, you saved Arthur. So at the station, Deb is sharing her new theory on the shooter with LaGuerta, Angel, and Quinn. Like, oh, the guy's taller than me. We figured it out with the lab work and stuff. So yeah. On the way back to Miami, Dexter decides that he's not going to spare Arthur again. Why did he save him the first time? He should have just let Arthur jump. I mean, obviously that's an evil thing to say and very fucked up, but like, he really should have. Nearing the city, they get caught in a line for one of the DNA checkpoints, and obviously they're swabbing. They're trying to match. They have the DNA of the serial killer, and Arthur, obviously being the serial killer, he takes a detour. They leave, and he's laughing the whole way. So kind of going through all this traffic. That's not the reason why you're not going through that, and Dexter knows exactly why. That's where we're going to leave the episode off with. I have to go and watch The Walking Dead. But I appreciate you guys checking out the videos. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe, all that stuff. Oh, okay, I was confused at first. But yeah, we're watching The Walking Dead. I don't know why I made that face. We're watching The Walking Dead today. We're going to have a review for you guys tomorrow. Next week, I think I am going to watch 2 episodes of Dave. So yeah, it should be a pretty good time. Tonight, if there's some good NBA games, I'm going to discuss them on the channel. It's probably not going to be a long